Hi everyone, this is MARTiALYOU. I'm Sean and it's raining outside and I figured I would turn my living room into a mini dojang so I could practice while it was gloomy and I couldn't get outside. And thought to myself, why not make a video about footwork? Alright, let's go over two very basic but extremely useful types of footwork in martial arts. First, we'll go over slicing. Slicing is one of those things that looks super easy when you see it done, but for some it's actually quite difficult to do. It basically involves gliding your body across the floor while keeping your feet about the same distance from each other in about the same relative position related to each other. So if I start with my right foot in front and left foot in back, all through the slicing motion, my feet will stay in that same orientation. Let's break it down. Okay, say I want to move closer to an opponent during sparring before unloading this awesome, cool barrage of point-scoring strikes. I might want to do this quickly, and I may want to maintain the same fighting stance because I'm really good at starting this super cool combo from the current stance I'm in. This is where slicing shines. Slicing allows you to move quickly, forward, backward, or offline without changing stance. A good way to practice the mechanics of this movement is to start out by exaggerating the motions. To slice forward, let's begin by shifting our body weight to the back leg while lifting our front foot off the ground about 6 inches. Next, push forward with the rear foot, enough to move about 1 to 2 feet ahead while keeping the front foot about the same distance away from the back foot. As you slow to a stop, lower the front foot to the ground and stabilize your stance. Work on making sure you end up in a nice and balanced position as soon as possible. Now reverse the entire technique to slice backwards. Shift your body weight to the front leg and lift your rear foot off the ground about 6 inches before pushing back about the same 1 to 2 feet. Lower the back foot to the ground just as you stop and make sure you have a good solid stance before trying again. Practice this back and forth until you have the basic mechanics down. As you get better, work on keeping both feet as close to the ground as possible during the entire movement. Gradually increase the speed of your slicing and also work on stopping your movement quickly with your feet by digging into or gripping the ground either with your toes or your shoes. Use the friction to your advantage. Eventually, it will appear as though you're gliding across the floor and you'll be able to add this movement to both offensive and defensive techniques. Now let's go over another type of footwork called stepping. It's super simple and involves the motion of quickly taking 1 step forward or 1 step backward in order to gain distance or create distance between you and an opponent, just like the slice, except your stance will switch each time you do it. This works great when you want to move closer or further away and swap stance at the same time. Maybe your opponent turned their body and you want to keep your best kicking leg in the rear to unleash a nice spinning back kick at the right time. Practicing this movement is as easy as stepping forward or backward with one leg. Only with this particular technique, you want to really drive off the floor in order to transition as fast as possible. Remember, you're an easy target mid-motion, so you want to have the ability to complete any footwork in a relatively short amount of time. The longer it takes you to transition, the better the chances your opponent has to land something on you. Let's start practicing by stepping forward slowly. Go through the motion of pushing off the floor with the rear foot instead of just lifting it and pulling it to the front of you. Just like before, make sure when you complete the step, you end up in a good, stable, and balanced stance. To go backwards, push off the floor with the front foot and bring it behind you, while again, making sure you end up in a solid stance. Gradually increase your stepping speed and begin to think about driving off the floor with your foot as if you were going to start a sprint. Even though we're only going to step once, we want that step to be as quick as possible. We definitely don't want to give our opponent plenty of time to strike us mid-motion. As you get better and are able to maintain a good stance from beginning to end, start combining each style of footwork with a single strike. Then begin to add the two types of footwork together to gain even more distance or move back much further. You'll also begin to learn how to throw your body mass around and add that momentum to the power of your strikes. The possibilities are endless. Well, I hope you got something out of this video, and I hope it helps to improve your footwork in some way. There's one last thing left for you to do, and that is to practice, practice, practice. Without a good foundation in footwork, the rest of your martial arts training is going to suffer. Before you start learning those fancy spin kicks, before you start fine-tuning those fancy jumping kicks, work the footwork, get it down, slice, step, combine them, step, slice, slice, step. Learn to move your body efficiently, learn to throw your weight around. When you do that, you will improve your training, you will improve yourself, and you will unleash your potential.